hope that didn't disturb you. All right. All right, how you doing, friends? It is 0 days to expiration, and this is the Final Hour show. And we're going to go back to our roots of the Final Hour show and start another experiment. Now, you've probably seen me talk about the Batman trade over the past couple of Final Hour shows and what that is. Now, let me just give you a little history about what we do. 0 DTE, 0 days to expiration. That is the final day of expiration on an options contract. Now, what we do is we take advantage of that final day. It's a very special day because on that day, premium decays down to nothing at its quickest possible rate, those final waning moments. Now, from a options collection point of view, that is an extreme advantage. And we have certain asset types like the options on the S&P index and options on the NASDAQ index and options on the E-mini S&P futures contract and others that have 5 of these expirations per week. So they have weeklies that go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So now you have this incredible opportunity where you can collect premium 5 days a week. Now, it's been 5 days a week now since May of this year. Before that, it was only 3 days a week. And even then, it was really quite something. Now, we've been running this service now for, well, I think in March it will be 2 years, so 1 year and 3 quarters, let's say. And in the beginning, our premise, besides collecting premium on the final day, was to do something very different from other services that also take advantage of this 0 DTE event. They do it a very different way. They do it the way that your typical retail trading strategy might look like, using a very high probability strategy, looking for a tiny little profit with huge amounts of risk. A lot of people characterize it like picking up nickels in front of a steamroller. We do something very different, more akin to the way a professional might trade, and that is to invert that entire equation and do what I call the inversion of risk and take small amounts of risk for large potential profit. That's a more sensible way to do it. Besides that visual that you get being in front of a steamroller, because that's really what it's like, it changes that whole attitudinal part of the trade around for the trader. Now, when you're trading it that other way, the high probability way, you're constantly under stress, panic, FOMO. All of those different emotions come to the front, and they make it. And in fact, that is another disadvantage there. I mean, it is when you're in a panic mode, it's very difficult to make clear, rational decisions. But by doing it the way we do it, and instead of going after tiny little bits of profit, we're going after a huge profit, taking well-defined risk that will never hurt us. We never have big drawdowns. We don't have the volatility in our equity curve. We're never in that panic state, so we can concentrate on what we're doing, the task at hand, and keep a clear head and make rational, logical decisions, which is an advantage in of itself. And we have a long-term positive expectancy, which, curiously, people that are trading this others, they do not take that into account, that their expectancy is actually negative. So that's a big difference in the way we trade. Now, we don't. The other thing that we do different, at least in the beginning, is that we do not go after. We're not a directionless strategy. The initial incarnation of this was to take a butterfly, put it out of the money so that you can get that kind of risk to reward relationship, and then choose a direction. Now, last year, that was perfect because the direction was basically up. There was one direction last year. Yeah, every once in a while there's a pullback, but that was also up. So doing a single butterfly and then choosing a direction was really child's play. And it returned incredible profits because we were taking very tiny risk and it was going in our direction. And we would have pin trades. A pin trade is where price will end up near the center of your butterfly, achieving maximum profit. Now, unlike the high probability iron condors where they risk, say, $1,000 to make $50, we're risking $100 to potentially make $1,500 or $2,000. So when you achieve one of these pin trades, you're going after a significant amount of money. And last year it was like that. We would have pin trades every week. Now, this year it's been quite different. We're no longer in that Fed-induced hopium market where everything just goes up all the time. And now we're in a bear market and we're pulling back. Volatility is up. The direction on a day-to-day basis is far less certain. We have bear market rallies and so forth and range-bound markets. It's very different. And so a directional strategy doesn't work, but we still want to keep that risk to reward. So what do? Well, we take two of these out of the money butterflies and we put it and flank it on either side of price. So in fact, we are directionless with a caveat to that. There's zones where we don't take profit, right between the butterflies and of course on the outer edges. But what we still have that the other strategy does not is a well-defined small risk. So that's something now that we have adopted. So after doing about 150 trades last year, went fantastic, and then doing about 120 trades this year, where it also went well. Just it was quite a stark difference in terms of the overall performance. Still very positive performance, averaging anywhere from 5 to 6% per month this year. Last year, it was more like 11 to 20% per month. It was almost unreal. So given that backdrop, we still want to do the asymmetric trade, but we're doing it in a directionless way. So we play both sides of the market. We're still taking very, very tiny risks. We limit our risk to just a portion of the overall debit that we take. And so again, we're in that kind of realm where we're taking 1 part risk to 5, 6, 10 parts potential return. But now it doesn't matter which way price goes, and that's really the new experiment for us. It's not really an experiment. It's more of a task to put these trades on and try different combinations, different criteria, different entry and exit criteria, different management techniques to determine what are the optimal ways that we will enter and exit these trades. And so what we're engaged in right now is that sort of experiment that gives us all of this information. I've done several of these trades, and so we have a general idea, but now we're in this sort of refinement mode, and that is really indicative of this service. This service really is not an alert service. It is it's a service where people learn to trade, where they learn to be a professional trader. It is a coaching and mentoring service. And so we learn about the process of trading, the life cycle of strategies, and how to develop those life cycles. So that's what we're engaged with here. So we're not, your typical, hey, someone's just putting out some random alerts and then you follow them like a monkey and hope that you're going to do well. That's not going to make you into a long-term successful trader. This service is designed specifically to help you become a long-term, successful, consistently profitable trader. And so now I am the head coach, mentor, trader that leads this group, and I've been doing this type of work for decades. I've been the coach of executives in past, and for traders over the past 10 or 15 years. And so I bring that skill to this group, and that's how it is run. So if you've been following this show, this Final Hour show, you know that the Final Hour show itself had originated from one of our test environments. We were looking at taking this single position butterfly and trading it on the very final hour, see if that worked. And in this market, it was a tough sell. I committed to doing 100 trades. The first 50 trades went very well, and made good profit. The second 50 were kind of flat. So we decided that probably, or this style of trade, just was not conducive to the final hour, and so we decided not to go with that. But it was a lot of fun to do that and then expose it to the world and let them see how we actually go through the process. But now I look back and I look at this new trade that we've taken on that we call the Batman trade. It's called the Batman trade because when you look at the two butterflies and sticking up, they kind of look like Batman's ears. And we also have other trades that are derivatives of that, like we have the Catwoman trade. I know we got the Batman theme going. We also have the Dynamic Duo, which is a scalping trade, but that's another story. So we're just having fun with that. But anyways, the Batman trade, I think, is a fantastic trade to put on at the beginning of the market, at the open. And now I'm thinking back and reminiscing, and I'm thinking that, man, it might actually be a really great trade to put on that final hour as well. And so I think that what we're going to do in future shows is that we'll do exactly what we did before. We'll do a final hour show, a final hour trade, using a derivative of this strategy, and we'll test that out, and we'll do these trades live in front of everybody, and so that you can see how we go about doing our business and see if this Batman trade does work well within the context of the final hour of a 0 DTE event. So there you go. That's the announcement that I wanted to make. And right now, I don't have any specific trade to talk about. I know that there are members that have put on trades for today, and I'm sure that they're all doing well. They're probably going to announce them here in the chat. Let's see. But before we go on, why don't we do a little roll call in the chat and see who's showed up? And we have Jay Hen. How you doing? The dancing Ernie. I'm just a dancing fool. Robro's here. How you doing? And Yasu, and is here. Oh, and we have the Reverend Menaneros. How you doing? Tacos Menaneros. Let's see. What does he have to say? S&P, NASDAQ, Dow fall, yields gain, and solid economic data raises Fed hike worries from seeking alpha. Everyone is scared. Geez, so serious today, Tacos. What's going on? Oh, it's a TradingView feed. Yeah, I think what's happening in the market today is that there was a rumor that came out that the Fed may in fact be looking at higher rate hikes and holding them on for a longer, or doing the hikes for a longer period of time than what they're leading on to recently. I mean, right now, if you take a look at the CME Fed Watch tool, that lays odds on what the Fed's going to do on the next rate hike, and that's going to be this month, next week, I believe. There's a 75% probability that according to this tool, that they'll hike at the next meeting, they'll hike rates 50 basis points, and about a 25% probability that they'll go to 75 basis points. So that is in conflict with this new rumor that came out by a supposed Fed whistleblower. I don't know if there's actually such a thing. I don't know who in the Fed would be whistleblowing about stuff like that. But it's possible, saying that the plans, the internal talk, is quite different from the narrative that's being put out there to the rest of the market, and that's that's plausible because they'd probably want to keep that kind of narrative down. They're very concerned that the hikes, if they go too far too fast, or if they even lead the market on and let them say know that that's what their plans are, that the market's going to price that in, and that's going to have a deleterious effect on the market itself and also the economy. So that got out, and that's supposedly why the market is down today, because of that rumor. But we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough when the Fed meets and whether or not they do 50 or 75 basis points, and then we'll listen to Uncle Jerome to tell us what we should expect over the coming months. Should we expect more 50 basis point moves, or is it all going to be data driven? And of course, the data has been absolutely horrendous anyways. So I guess you can just read the tea leaves if you want. The jobs report, everyone talks about a jobs situation that is supposedly robust and strong and all that, but there are conflicting pieces of information in the jobs report that show that something's not right here. There's the numbers that the government reports, and then there are the numbers that are also government fed that homeowners are reporting that are quite divergent. So you have to wonder exactly, well, what should you believe? Should you believe the official government report, or this other companion report that comes out that's showing that households are saying that jobs are actually quite a bit worse than what the job situation report is leading on? So that's just one factor, and who knows? Who really knows? I think that it all comes out in the end. It's not something that we really have to worry about. I wouldn't put it past our government to fudge the numbers. I mean, they do that now with GDP and inflation. They've been doing it for decades, all for the purpose of providing a different narrative for political purposes. So that's the world we live in. Anyways, back to the roll call. We have Lance. How you doing, Lance? He says, "Hey, Ernie, what's the status of the DD trade?" What he's talking about there is the dynamic duo trade. The status is that it is an idea that I've introduced to the group. It's a scalping trade that scalps zero DTE, the zero DTE event. It's a trade that's going to require quite a bit of study and practice and experience before we institute it as something that I can just, release out to hundreds of traders within our group and then just immediately expect them to become profitable with it. It's not like our asymmetric trades that really are quite easy to manage. This is going to require quite a bit more acumen and skill and developed skill. And so that's really the status of it. The status is that we're going to explore it, we're going to practice it, and then we're going to develop it, we're going to curate it, and then when it's ready, then we'll release it. Milo says, "To the Bat Computer, the Bat Phone." The Bat Computer. Remember the Bat Computer? With all the flashing lights and knobs and dip switches. How you doing, Stephen? Nice to see you here. Ty's here. Howdy. Let's see what is have to say. "I'm not sold on the final hour Batman." Well, none of us are. That's why we do the experiment. I wasn't actually sold on the final hour trade before either. And in the beginning, it looked really good. And then in the end, it looked kind of flat. But you never really know until you actually do it. what is he saying? He's saying that I don't think there's enough movement or time for premium collection considering both flies. Well, that depends on the type of fly that you put on. So we may be looking at something that's a variant of the fly. So it may not be exactly what you think. And I know that one of our members, Dan Smith, has been proposing a different type of fly, excuse me, that he calls the Catwoman. And it is a different makeup. And I think that it may have some usefulness. And so we're going to take a look at that. He's been doing test trades and they look positive. So we'll see. You won't know until you actually do it, man. Jay Hen says, of the internal talk is different, so they can trade. I have to put that together. Of course. Frederick, how you doing? Did a Batman today. Call 40-55, 30 wide, and a put 40-15, 30 wide. Nice. But it closed at 4,000 as it kept dropping. Yeah, it was a tough market today. Hopefully you got, I mean, with a 40 wide, you should have at least gotten really positive premium decay. And so hopefully it was still a successful trade for you. How you doing, Brent? Is likes the new specs. So I have these really expensive glasses somewhere around here. Where are they? I don't know where they are. But they're good. They're prescription. And they're okay, but I can never find them. They're always somewhere around. So I go out and I buy these. These are, just reading glasses. And they're a dime a dozen. They work just as good as the, the expensive glasses that I have. I mean, I have a pair of glasses, they've got the titanium frames and all this other stuff, and they're like nearly $1,000 for these glasses. And they're not much better than these things that are 5 of these for $15. So yeah, it's a little heavy around the rim. All right, let's see who else is here. GTMK4. Hey, Ernie, do you still use pattern cast? No, I don't. If not, why not? That is a longer story. I am no longer involved with the person that developed the technology. So that's that. I don't know why that's coming up lately. It's kind of weird. All right, Jayhen, the Fed. Jayhen, you're making me like go back to all of your posts and try to piece it together. The Fed. Yes, the Fed. And the Fed. There you go. All right. So 325, that's about all I have to say for today. Steven's got a comment. I'm paper testing a Batman today with centers at 4,000, 40, 75, 20 wide. Each at 10 o'clock was $400, currently sitting at $940. Oh, hold on. Nice. Milo says, when something is wrong, it's always the Fed's fault. Yeah, I'll go along with that. It's just amazing that we sit here and we rely on the Federal Reserve. They have so much power, and they're so inept. Jerome Powell has admitted, in no short order, that they really don't understand why inflation happens and why it persists. Yet we're supposed, and a lot of, well, I understand why. I don't know why he doesn't understand. I mean, the reason why inflation happens is because government spends money. And then the Fed monetizes that money with debt, and then that increases the monetary supply, and inflation happens. That's what happens. There's nothing else to cause inflation but you guys. The reason why he doesn't understand why inflation happens is because he has the inability to do any kind of introspection and realize that they are the problem. Do we ever trade the VIX or UVXY? Does the VIX have weekly options 3 days or 5 days a week? That's what I'd like to know. Let's check that out. Let's see here. Let's go to the VIX. They have weeklies, but they're only on the week, once a week. So, yeah, probably not. I mean, it'd be interesting to look at it on Fridays. I assume that's when it is. No, it's on Mondays. Oh, one day. Oh, that's an A. Oh, they're AM. So they're every 2 weeks, and they're AM expiries. So it's going to expire tomorrow at 9:30. So that's kind of weird. I don't know. It might be worth looking at. Can I trade it? I don't know if there's any what kind of liquidity that we have. Let's see. Let's look at the volume. You can't even see what I'm looking at, so let me bring that up. Let's take a look at the volume. It has a fair amount of volume, but really, it's all concentrated. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I'd want to trade. How about the VX futures? No options on the VX futures. So yeah, probably not going to trade the VIX on 0 DTE. We could. I am interested though in the NDX. And the NDX does have options 5 days a week. Now let's see what kind of volume it has. That's the only problem. The volume is kind of scant. It's really not a lot of volume. Look at that. It's only double-digit volume. Some triple-digit. That's really nothing. I mean, I'd love to trade that. What about the NQ futures? It's also 5 days a week. But I would imagine that the volume's even lower than the index. Let's see. It's comparable. But still, it's low volume means really loose spreads. It's going to be very widespread. It's going to be very difficult to trade the NASDAQ. So really, the only real option is the SPX and the E-mini futures. They have, I mean, just take a look at the SPX here, and you'll see the difference in terms of volume. So look at this, 5 digits, 5-digit volume. Let's take a look at the E-mini. It's not quite as much volume as the SPX, but it's still up there. It's still a thick market. Look at that. So, yeah, that's what we'll focus on. All right, Jay Hen says the internal talk of Fed is always different from the narrative for their illegal trading. Well, when they make the rules, I guess they can decide what's illegal and not illegal, right? Giannis, when will we get rid of all the Keynesian central planning crap like the Fed? That's going to require the quote reset. Where is the good old laissez-faire capitalism? There is none. There is no laissez-faire capitalism. There is no meritocracy. It's all about whatever the Fed says the future cost of money is. That's what it's all about. They believe that they know best when they don't know anything at all, and they admit it. So it's a crazy world we live in. Oh well. You can still make money in this world. Even though that it's run by a bunch of criminals and crooks that think that and a nanny state. It's crazy, but with a little bit of knowledge and chutzpah, then you can do well. All right, I am done. I want to thank everybody for showing up, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll initiate the final hour trade experiment. I'll commit to 50 trades. How's that? Is 50 enough? Yeah, we'll do 50 trades. All right, and we'll count it down, and we'll see what we do after 50 trades and how that works out. All right. Thank you very much. Peace to you all. And we'll see you next time. Music Man.